previewing a couple of their upcoming figures from their Hush line. First of all, we're going to get civilian Clark Kent. Upcoming Hush line, and we got a couple of... What is wrong with me? Can't talk. Just can't talk today. The Bruce Wayne. Oh, God. Hello gang, and welcome to Displaying-Model-Behaviour. On today's episode, the Masters of the Universe trailer finally drops, Star Wars goes in a new direction, which is actually an old direction, and you can add Clark Kent to your shelves. All this and more in the only news that matters. And that's good news. I'm going to cover some non-action figure related news to start the show, but if you want to jump straight to the action figures, then you can do by clicking the timestamp down below. So, to kick things off, the Masters of the Universe trailer has dropped on the internet, and a lot of people have a lot of thoughts. And I have some too. First of all, I'm generally quite excited by it. It looks like a whole lot of fun. That's also very loyal to the source material. And that's really all a lot of us want, is something that just has fun with the source material that we grew up with. And it looks as though, while it might be a little tongue-in-cheek in places, it doesn't look as though it's mocking the source material. I like the framing device where Prince Adam is on Earth, and in the trailer it seems like, yes, he was intentionally sent there to kind of hide him from Skeletor maybe, and it seems like he's perhaps aware of his lineage, but not exactly. Like, he doesn't know that he is He-Man. He knows that something is up, but he's still trying to puzzle it out. So it's going to be a fun sort of fish out of water story when he gets to Eternia, but then hopefully he picks up the role of He-Man pretty quickly. What I'm hoping doesn't happen is that he only becomes He-Man in the last 15 minutes of the movie. Like, I could see that possibly being the structure they take, where 90% of the movie is him trying to find out who he is and then get familiar with Eternia and what's going on there. I hope that's not the case, because I want to see Prince Adam and He-Man. Hopefully, we're going to get to He-Man a little bit sooner than the final act, but time will tell. All the characters look phenomenal. Love it. Again, they've stayed true to the source material. They look the way they should look. A lot of people are already saying, oh, he looks a bit skinny for He-Man. Let's get a little perspective here. The dude playing He-Man is jacked. Like, he's jacked to the gills. It's only because He-Man was literally sculpted after Mr. Olympia. You know, so you could have a bodybuilder playing He-Man, but it wouldn't necessarily work with the acting chops or the look of the face or anything. You know, really, to get that ridiculous Roidy Magoo physique, you need to be doing CGI or a Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk switcheroo. I'm not down for that. The dude is absolutely ripped and yoked, and I think he's as He-Man as he possibly needs to look. And as for the rest of it, Skeletor, I'm amazed that that's Skeletor. Skull, blue body, everything straight out of the cartoon. And also, you'll notice, not even a hint of Jared Leto in this or any of the marketing. It looks like they have maybe finally realized, and when I say they, I mean studios in general, that Jared Leto is pretty much in the same box office category as James Franco. It's like, this dude ain't gonna sell movies for you. In fact, he might actually go towards tanking some franchises. Maybe better to accept the fact that he's in the movie and just brush over that with a whole bunch of CGI Skull and Skeletor. I'm absolutely fine with that. Watch me say that, and then the movie's going to have like a 20-minute flashback scene where it's, what's his name, Keldar or whatever, and you see him like full on just Jared Leto. He's like, hey, yo, here I am, Jared Leto. Remember the guy from the Snyderverse and from the Tron Ares movie, and what else is tanked? Still, I'm just really happy to see the look of the film. All of the Eternia people look awesome. Bring it on. June the 6th, I think it might be. I'll fact check myself. Whatever it might be, whenever it hits theaters, I'm going to be there day one. So, over in Disney Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy has finally stepped down from her role as the leading force creatively of the Star Wars franchise. And I know that a lot of people are probably quite happy to hear that because the franchise has been struggling as of the last 10 years or so. I know that some people do enjoy Disney Star Wars. more power to you. Not here to hate on that. But the general consensus for a lot of people is that it ain't what it used to be. And the franchise has now been left under the guidance of Dave Filoni, who of course was the driving force behind The Mandalorian, and Llewellyn Brennan, who I'm not familiar with, but there you go. I'm sure she has a pedigree in the industry. So one of the first things that seems to be changing is that Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the Disney theme park that has been struggling since its inception, is actually going to start embracing pre-sequel characters. Because one of the big barriers to entry, I think, for a lot of people, a lot of fans for Galaxy's Edge, was that it was all sequel stuff. It was all Jakku and Rey Skywalker and Kylo Ren and the First Order. And it's like, guys, these aren't the things that have 40 years of love and nostalgia. It was, I think, the Kathleen Kennedy approach to say, no, out with the old, in with the new. But the thing is, the old is what built the entire franchise. So Galaxy's Edge is about to get Darth Vader and probably a whole bunch of other pre-sequel classic Star Wars characters, and honestly, that can only be a good thing. Also, interestingly, there was an interview with Kathleen Kennedy where she said how Rian Johnson was scared away from doing other Star Wars movies and projects because of the brutal fan backlash from his Last Jedi movie. And then Rian Johnson came out very shortly afterwards and said, that's not true. It was like, there was I wasn't scared or spooked or anything. I just was, done with doing Star Wars. And I think, to be fair, the movie didn't do what they hoped it would do. And they had to change course. But he kind of said, yeah, it had nothing to do with fan backlash whatsoever. So come on, lads, get your stories straight. The bottom line, though, is that Star Wars will hopefully be going in a new direction pretty soon. And that might be a good thing for classic Star Wars fans. Time will tell. I told you I was going to be covering a whole bunch of non-action figure related news in this episode, and I'm going to talk about Street Fighter 6 because I love me some Street Fighter. And this year, it's going to be a big year for Street Fighter with the movie coming out as well. But Street Fighter 6 have just dropped their newest trailer for their upcoming character that's going to be added to the roster, Alex. And there's a couple of very cool things about this. First of all, Alex is a pro wrestling type character, so he's doing a whole bunch of pro wrestling type moves. But some of those moves are so damn accurate to the real life versions, I thought to myself, there must have been some serious motion capture going on with this, and it turns out there was, because the best bout machine himself, Kenny Omega from AEW, actually did all of the mocap for this character. And that's really, really cool. If you're going to have a pro wrestler character, why not get the cleaner to come in and do those moves for you? The first little hint I had was in the trailer, you see him do a Tiger Driver. And I was like, no, whoa, that was a Tiger Driver. That wasn't just a suplex or a pile driver. That was a deep cut wrestling move. So then when I saw Kenny Omega posting on his Instagram that he was doing the mocap, I thought, yep, you know what? Those are two great tastes that taste great together. And honestly, this inspired me to buy Street Fighter 6. Make sure I got the right number there. So I just ordered it on eBay. So hopefully that'll arrive in the next couple of days. And when it does, my productivity might go down a little bit. We'll see. But I'm really looking forward to playing that. And I'm looking forward to playing as Alex. A funny little combined story here. First of all, on the action figure side of things, WWE Mattel Ultimates Dominik Mysterio is up now for pre-order. And Dirty Dom is a character and a wrestler who did an absolute 180 in his career. I genuinely never thought that he was ever going to amount to much of anything besides just being a Nepo baby who wasn't really ever going to get over with the crowd. How wrong I was. And I'm happy to be wrong. Always happy to see good people succeed. I assume he's a good person, even if he portrays a scumbag on TV. So the figure looks great because the Mattel Ultimate figures usually do, and that bodes very well for their upcoming DC figures. But speaking of Dominik Mysterio, there's a very amusing story out and about doing the rounds at the moment because AAA, which is the Mexican wrestling promotion that WWE just bought, and they, run it, obviously, that's what you do when you buy something. Dom is their world champion, and they put together a highlight video package, but they used AI to do it. And whatever your opinions are of AI, one thing we can all agree on is that you should probably monitor it very closely, because they didn't. So they have Dominik Mysterio in this video sporting the AEW World Heavyweight Championship belt, which is just so wrong on so many levels. And I would love it if AEW sent WWE a cease and desist letter. Like, please stop using our intellectual property. Keep our title out your mouth. That's kind of amusing. And also another example that, maybe don't use AI. Or at least if you're going to, at least proofread it first, lads. So yeah, that was a story that just kind of made me chuckle. MAFEX are previewing a couple of their upcoming Hush figures, a couple of civilians. First of all, we're getting Bruce Wayne and then also Clark Kent, both of which have some interesting features. So the Bruce Wayne looks good. Suit, overcoat, briefcase. Yep, that's Bruce Wayne right there. But he comes with a couple of extra heads, one of which is a Catwoman one with the breathing apparatus, and also a couple of other legs as well. And I'm not sure exactly what these are doing, like how they're different from the other Batman legs that come with Hush Batman. But hopefully I can figure that out. Or even better, someone can tell me in the comments. And then over on the Clark Kent, I really like this. The civilian Clark Kent, I think, looks great. The head sculpt with the glasses. I think it also looks kind of small enough that it makes sense that he would have a sort of a smaller looking Clark Kent head on this big Superman body. And then, of course, the actual Superman head sculpts, they look great. I like the slight smile on one of the Superman ones. That's real nice. And you've got the more sort of stoic, serious look as well. But also the molded shirt rip. Oh, that's great. That's really, really great. I love what they've done there with that. So hopefully more information on these figures coming very, very soon. But in the meantime, the previews, they look pretty good. Up for pre-order now are the TMNT McFarlane Page Punchers black and white version Turtles. That was a bit of a mouthful, but we got there. So these are the 2012 style Turtles. Help me out if I'm wrong. I think it's the 2012 looking Turtles. And yeah, black and white with green bandanas. It's certainly a choice. But of course, if I was going to go all black and white, I'd go red bandanas. Then it's the classic Mirage kind of look. But maybe this has a precedent somewhere else. I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive, have a little read up on some of the articles here, see if there is a show or a comic where this look features. Or maybe it's just a little artistic flair from McFarlane Toys. If you like them, though, they're going to be $27.99 each. And as I said, I'm not going to redo that. They are available for pre-order right now. For all you edgy 90s kids, this might be a must-have. And when I say edgy 90s kids, I include myself in that one. We have got this beautiful, really, really beautiful 1/6 scale Crow figure, not from Hot Toys, but this time this is coming from Infinite Statue. But don't let the name fool you. This is an articulated action figure. And the Brandon Lee likeness is pretty stunning, but then you look at all the accessories as well, and this is a bit of a labor of love. They've gone deep on the Crow lore, at least for the first movie. All the different accoutrements you can dress this guy up with. It looks like a real great tribute to the original movie. And if you haven't seen the original Crow movie, for goodness sakes, stop what you're doing. Go watch that film because it has aged, honestly, I think like a fine wine. It's a great little bit of superhero, gothic action, bit of romance and sadness and fun and levity. It's got everything, basically. Plus the dude who played Alan Rickman's brother in Robin Hood. Whatever happened to that guy? I hope he's doing all right. I enjoyed him in the 90s. He was in Highlander 2 as well. The less said of that movie, the better. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the Crow. There are two different versions of this figure, and both of them are very expensive. So there's one for $580, and then there's a super deluxe one with a throne and all sorts of extra stuff. That's going to be $650. The 650 one, that has a window with candles diorama. So yeah, look, if you're going to spend 500 and something, you might as well spend 600 and something, am I right? I mean, come on, you're spending a big wad of cash either way. That's a dangerous way to look at things, but also it's one that I approve of. From Good Smile Company and Figma, we have an action figure of Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, a game that I tried to play and then said, nope, too punishing. I needed something that was a little more user-friendly. But it is a beautiful, beautiful God of War style hack and slash. But man, it's brutal. But this Sekiro design here looks great. Figma, they do fantastic action figures. I used to have the Metroid Dread Samus figure. Ah, mwah! Chef's kiss. So I'm sure that this is going to be no different. Of course, they're a little more expensive as well, but you do get a nice amount of bang for your buck. The amount of detail on this figure with his weapons and his kunai and all the little bits and pieces, they look real nice. I'm checking out some of the other details on the pictures here while I'm talking about it. And yeah, I love the burnt orange look of his costume as well. The actual design of everything in that game is so beautiful. This is no exception. So if you played the game and if you completed it, God bless you. And if you played it about as much as I did, then you can at least agree that it does look very pretty. And this is a very pretty action figure to go with it. New kink unlocked. Pot ladies. Who would have known? I'm only joking. They don't do all that much for me. But this is kind of fun and ridiculous because it's snail shell. In case you didn't guess, this is snail shell. And I'm getting a sense of Elden Ring type pot characters from this. But of course, someone looked at that and went, yeah, could be sexier though. And now we've got these ridiculous monstrosities, which I kind of love. I mean, I have the little mimic chest character, so why not have some sexy pot ladies to go with him? I love the little single eye peeking out. These are super fun, utterly ridiculous, and also I can't find anywhere to pre-order them online, but it's snail shell, so they shouldn't be too hard to come by. I imagine Bombusby and most other import sites will be carrying them at some point. I just can't find them online to pre-order anywhere yet. But when they are, you might want to keep an eye out for them. Because I didn't even mean to do that, but yeah, they do look kind of fun and silly. From Fog Toys, there's a figure that I can't really show too many pictures of because they are all extremely risque. And I want to keep this as a family-friendly channel. But there is this upcoming Nun figure, and the quality looks kind of interesting because it has these swap-outable silicone parts and pieces. So it's like a little evolution in action figure production and technology. So yes, it's mostly being used in a salacious lowest common denominator kind of fashion, which, just to be clear, is my kind of common denominator, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of a cool little, yeah, like I say, an evolution of action figures where it's incorporating this silicone technology to give more of a textured kind of feel. Is that some way of saying it? Anyway, it's a happening. You can check it out if you want to. Up for pre-order now from 6 Feet Lane and Venus Toys, we have the 1/12 scale Conundrum Man, aka the Riddler from The Batman. Looks pretty darn impressive. I love me some third-party unofficial figures because sometimes it's the only way to get the figures that you want. And if no one else is doing them, then God bless the people who are. It looks very impressive. Paul Dano in that Riddler role. You know, the further away I get away from The Batman, it was a good movie. It was, but I never felt compelled to go back to it. Just my kingdom for a Batman movie that is just an interpretation or, you know, a translation of the comics. Stop trying to make it super real. Stop trying to make it super dark and edgy and gritty. You don't have to go, you know, I swear, the Joel Schumacher movies are still resonating with people. And the fact that Christopher Nolan struck gold, in my opinion, once, they're all like, no, Batman has to be dark and real and gritty. No, it doesn't. Be bold. Be brave. How appropriate. Be brave and bold. Take a swing and actually give us a proper comic book style Batman movie. James Gunn, I'm looking at you. Let's make that happen. Oh, that reminds me of another story. And that other story is that Christina Hodson has been chosen to write the new Batman movie Brave and the Bold, if that's what they are still going to be calling it. And this lady was responsible for writing Transformers Bumblebee, which honestly I think is, encouraging. That's a good pedigree. I thoroughly enjoyed Transformers Bumblebee. But she also wrote Birds of Prey, and that movie didn't do well. But then again, I didn't watch it. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. But then again, I haven't seen Birds of Prey, so I can't comment one way or the other. I feel that maybe that movie bombed mostly because people were kind of done with the Snyderverse by that point. And even though the James Gunn Suicide Squad did okay, it probably wasn't enough to really bolster that franchise. Because for me, certainly, it just kind of went under the radar a little bit. But if anyone has seen the Birds of Prey movie, let me know. Was it well written? In your opinion, does this bode well for the upcoming Batman movie? Comment below and let me know. We've got another realistic style, or at least I think it's realistic style, military character over on Bombuzby, up for pre-order right now. We've got the VTS Toys VMO59 1/12 scale UK SAS Task Force Spectre. That's a whole lot of words there, and numbers and letters and all sorts of things. But what it all equates to, it's a pretty darn scary looking badass army man. Well, SAS, Super Army Soldiers. That's what they told me it stood for. That's a quote from an old TV show. Anyway, the SAS guy looks pretty damn wicked. So this now is going to be available from Bombuzby. He's priced at $63.99. So not a crazy insane price for what looks like a character with a whole bunch of soft goods and extra weapons and accessories. Also, shout out to the person in the comments for the other video. Also, shout out to the person in the comments from my last video who told me the difference between a clip and a No, wait, no, you didn't tell me the difference between a clip and a mag. I think I said magazine when referring to something, and they said, actually, it's a clip. I was like, well, I'm going to Google this. So I had to do the research myself to find out why there is a difference. But at least now I understand it. But hey, look, in future, if you're going to tell me how wrong I am in the comments, tell me what the right answer is. I appreciate that. I got no problem with being told I'm wrong, but don't make me have to go and do the work myself. I hate work. Ace over at Ramen Toys has just shown off a prototype of an upcoming familiar-looking barbarian-type character who might just be codenamed Cease and Desist Man at this point. But looking back at some of the other products that Ramen Toys have done over the last few years that are reminiscent of classic 80s franchises that we all grew up with, I think this might hopefully develop into a pretty good-looking action figure that's going to be very nostalgic for a lot of us. Over in Custom Corner, thank you Eric Fullen for bringing this one my way. This is an awesome repaint of the Loose Collector Mr. Hyde figure with what looks like a custom Incredible Hulk head with an amazing paint job, and oh my goodness, this is worthy of a little feature. The only thing I notice is that it's the problem I had with the original Mr. Hyde figure was that he has the flat disc waist, whereas really a big figure like this, you want the nice sunken egg cup to make it nice and seamless. That notwithstanding though, the actual custom work on this thing, absolutely amazing. The ridiculous Roidy Magoo looking Hulk, so awesome. Also reminds you what could be done with a little bit of creativity. So if you've ever considered customizing something, well, now's your cue to go do it. Today's cosplay cover artist is Michaela Lee. Go check her out on Instagram. She's doing some fantastic stuff there. And folks, that does it for Good News for today. Thank you so much for watching. What did you think about the items covered and also about me covering the non-action figure items too? I like to just cover a whole bunch of good stuff because you know what? There is a whole bunch of crazy news in the world right now, and it'd be nice to just have some good news. And that's what I'm going to be doing on this channel. Only the fun stuff. So what did you think about the whole smorgasbord of things that I put in front of you? Comment below and let me know. And thank you so much everyone who supports this channel, especially during this little transitionary phase where I'm in the bunker and making makeshift videos until I'm set up again in Hong Kong. That will be happening soon. But in the meantime, I'm patching these episodes together as best I can do. I hope you're enjoying them. So until the next one, keep displaying model behavior.